Hello everyone, thanks for joining us for the latest Off Script, where Graeme Souness has been good enough to join us. And Graeme, this is the first Super Sunday in this stadium, and I think the first time you've been here. What do you make of it?
Spectacular. I would go as far to say it's the best football stadium I've ever been in.
Anywhere?
Anywhere, yeah. Okay, it's the newest, latest. Not seen it with anyone in here, so I'm not sure what atmosphere will be created. And a lot of that depends on how the home team are playing, of course. But I think, first thoughts, yes, sensational.
I've wanted to ask you this for a while. In a TV studio, for those of us who don't go into one, which includes me, what is it like?
In terms of?
Just the atmosphere, particularly when it's maybe a big moment, like a big manager's under pressure and maybe it gets that little bit adversarial. Well, I just wonder how you're thinking and feeling.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the bigger the games, the more I think we all get excited about them. But yeah,
tension like when you played or not?
No. But there's always a backstory, isn't it? You're turning up with thoughts about how it might go, or who's going to be under pressure. Who's going to be the star of the show. So you're turning up with sort of some thoughts going on in your head, but very, very rarely turns out the way you anticipate. I think we do a great job. I think the way we deal with the big moments, I think we do that better than anybody else. We've got some very talented young men and ladies working our business now. And I like to think we put on a fantastic show most of the time. But we get the game G's us up. If it's a really good game, there's lots to talk about, it makes our job very easy.
So how much with you, say it is a big moment, how much is it you've thought about what you might say, or do you think you're at your best when the story just takes you over?
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. Everything's off the cuff. I mean, my preparation for the games, the way I see my job, I could trot out all sorts of stats. But I think the viewer sitting at home could do that as well. He could Google how many goals he scored in the last 3 seasons, how many goals he scored about this team he's playing against today in the last few seasons. You can get most of the info on the internet, and I think what our job is to point out something to the viewers that maybe they're not seeing that's happening in the game, or a reason for something happening in the game that they wouldn't have thought of. So in terms of preparation, of course, you have to know the players involved, you have to know the sort of form coming into the games, but I think in the 90 minutes a lot of it is what I see.
So the latest instalment of the Old Firm derby almost upon us. Just tell us about your first introduction to that game.
Well, fortunately, when I was up there, I was there 5 years, and we were bossing it for 4 years, and Celtic won it the 1 year with Billy McNeil in charge. I got greatly criticised for saying, well, I don't care if we lose to Celtic up the times of year as long as we win the league. That did not go down well.
Did your view change on that?
Oh, yeah. After the first 10 minutes of the very first Old Firm game. But my thinking was, as long as we end up winning the league, as long as we get our hands on the cup at the end of it, I don't mind, taking a few blows along the way. But then you do get it. These games are so much. And it generally leads to you winning the league if you win these. And it's not just the points that you get on the day for winning it. What I found was you could be playing the best football, but you're second in the league because you've drawn a daft game. You might have had someone sent off. A lot of the time it was me getting sent off. But you could have got, for whatever reason, you didn't win that game, so you're going into an Old Firm game and you're second. And all the pressure's on you, although you might have been playing the best football at the two teams. It's all about winning these games, staying top, because if you're top, the pressure is off you. All the focus is on whoever is second, and that pressure sometimes leads to different performances from the team and individuals. So it's all about being first up there. The focus is off you. It's all about the second team can't afford to slip up again, and that's why these games are so important. You've got to be winning them.
So when you went there, you were a seriously experienced football man, and wasn't the first game like a charity game? But even didn't that take you a little by surprise?
Oh, that was. I'd been announced before the end of one season, and there was a Glasgow Cup final, which was between Rangers and Celtic, if my memory serves me well, and that was full on, and a game that shouldn't have been full on. It was full on, and that sort of was my first introduction to it, and made me realise how important these games were to the supporters. And then you get into the real stuff when it's. You're going to try and win the league, and I come back to it. You have to win these games. You have to if you're winning these games, as I said, and I hope I'm not repeating myself too much, you have to win these games to take the pressure off you. You know, you have to have you have to try and somehow turn the spotlight and the pressure onto them, the opposition. In my case, Celtic, so that they're the team playing under pressure because you've beaten them. And you know, there's a week of extreme criticism, and many times it's not deserved on the team that loses that game. But that puts them under pressure, and that frees you up if you're top to go off and play with a bit of freedom.
Been in Celtic's shadow for a long time now, Rangers, haven't they, for one reason or another? Are they ready to change that now, do you think, with Gerrard?
Yeah, well, they're near. I mean, Celtic, you would say on paper, arguably, have the better players, but that means that counts for nothing in many cases. I think Rangers are nearer to them. It's going to be the first one coming up this weekend. I think it'll be a very close affair again. And I'm hoping Rangers can edge it. I mean, obviously, they're going for, is it 9 in a row this year, or 8 in a row, Celtic? You're saying, yeah, you don't know either. As a Rangers supporter, I don't want to know about that, but I know they're pushing on with so many in a row, so we've somehow got to bring that to an end.
I also wanted to ask you about being a player manager, because we obviously don't see it a lot now, but Vincent Kompany's trying to do it at Anderlecht, and it's been a tough start for him. What's it like being a player manager?
Very difficult, extremely difficult, because you know, when you're a player, you only have to really look after yourself, and then you go into management, and then you've got 30 players' welfare that you have to have an eye on. Not necessarily on a day-to-day basis be involved in solving the problems, but certainly be aware of the problems, and you've hopefully got staff that can take care of that. But you're aware of it, and then you know the non-footballing side of things, which at that time I was player manager, I had to get involved in. So it was all consuming. It was very difficult. And on top of that, you've still got to try and stay fit to perform on a Saturday. So it's very difficult. A great deal would depend on the support you have around you. In my case, I had Walter Smith, which was a great help to me, and the chairman and the other people at the club. So I had enormous help. I would say at a big club today, it'd be nigh on impossible, I think, you know, because of what's involved in football today. I think it can happen in the lower leagues, but you know, even there's a gap between, if you're talking about, I mean, Rangers are a big football club, Celtic are a big football club, and the pressures of being manager alone are enormous. But to try and play as well, I think today would be nigh on impossible.
Graeme, thank you very much for joining us.
Pleasure.
That's it for Off Script for this week.
Pleasure.